Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, with a piece of Finster. Here, come on. You can come join us. We're talking about one of Finster's faves, Alfred Cortot, the complete. Well, it was now it's the Warner edition, the Warner Classics edition. It was the EMI edition. Hi, come here, sweetie. Come say hello. Yes, a good girl. Here she is. There she is, the big Finst. How you doing? Okay. You're done? You want to go down? Here, sit here. There, I can plop her over there, you see, and she'll hang out, at least for a second or two. So there we go. Alfred Cortot, yeah, that's where we were. I started this thing, and of course she jumps up on the desk and stomps on the computer and jumps all over Alfred Cortot. Now, this happens, and we're so lucky, you're lucky, because this happens to be a straight reissue of the EMI edition, which came out, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that, and it was very extensively reviewed, if you're a ClassicsToday.com insider member, which you should be, by our very own Jed Disler, who wrote an absolutely spectacularly fabulous review with comparisons between transfers and all kinds of insights and things that I could never do in my wildest dreams. So I would refer you to that review for more details than I'll be able to provide in this brief survey, which is really just telling you that this exists and that it's an important, package of stuff. I mean, Cortot was one of the great pianists for the first half of the 20th century. He was always a fallible pianist. His fingers never twisted quite correctly in some pieces, but it doesn't matter because he was brilliant as an interpreter. He was of the Romantic school. That is, he did things to the music. There was lots of rubato and he shaped things kind of intriguingly, and he liked to split chords between his left hand would anticipate the right or vice versa. He was a romantic pianist to the manner born. And so he's best heard in that repertoire. And let's see, this does not tell us, by the way, in a helpful way, what's in here. You have, just so you know, and this is the way the other edition was done too, a little bookie, which we're going to go through because that gives us the repertoire. And then all of these things look the same. And then there's a list, a teeny tiny print of what's on each disc on the back, which is really not so helpful. But you do at least get a list of works in this rather slender booklet. 40 CDs, that's just a lot of stuff to go through. And so we're going to talk about what's in here. The most important things, actually, I think, are his Schumann recordings, his Chopin recordings, and then his chamber music recordings that he did, with Thibaut and those famous things, with the trio things. I think we have some back here. Do we have some back here? What's this? No, this is his Beethoven that he did rather late in life, which doesn't, I don't think, find him at his best. And let's see. That was with Casals and Thibaut, and yes, here we go. Oh, and there were the Brandenburg concertos. Oh, yuck. Those are just, Jed's nicer to them than I would be. I think they just sound horrible. And whether or not you knew about period instruments or not, although, as Jed points out, the cadenza in the Fifth Brandenburg Concerto is completely insane and worth hearing on its own sake. Yeah, we've got Cortot and Thibaut in sonatas, and then Casals making a trio, and sometimes he's with the International Quartet here, the Franck Piano Quintet. There's some really cool stuff there. So, okay, the chamber music stuff is really worth hearing. But let's go through this, shall we, and see what's in here. Okay, Albanese. 2 Spanish songs, a little bit of Hispania, and Iberia Book 2, number 3, Triana. And those are early recordings. He sort of gave up Albanese later in his career. They tell you where they are, CD1, CD2, CD8, something like that. You get many of these short pieces on multiple occasions. So like I said, you've got some Bach stuff, the Brandenburg Concertos, the Organ Concerto number 5, after Vivaldi, Concerto Grosso Opus 3 number 4, and then an aria from the Concerto in F minor, BWV 1056. I think his Bach is just dreadful, except for that cadenza, the 5th Brandenburg Concerto. Some Beethoven stuff, his late stuff. The Pathetique Sonata, the Moonlight Sonata, the Appassionata Sonata, Sonata 25, 26, the Farewell 27, the Archduke Piano Trio. That is a classic. That's one of those Casals Thibaut things that you absolutely have to hear. The Kakadu Variations for Trio. And let's see, some Mozart variations on Bei Manner and Welche Liebe Fühlen from Die Zauberflöte, and the Kreutzer Sonata. So, I mean, all of that stuff's well worth hearing. But his Beethoven Sonata as well, some of them are okay, I guess. I mean, the Farewell Sonata has its moments. It really does. And the Pathétique has some beautiful things. But I don't find his insights to be more applicable to Beethoven than to later composers. So you've got the Brahms Double Concerto here on CD 34, famous recording of that, and the Wiegenlied arranged by Cortot, the Lullaby, in 3 different versions. But Cortot was not basically a Brahms pianist. That wasn't his thing particularly. The Chausson Concert, yes, that you should definitely hear. That was sort of the standard version of the Chausson Concert. Chopin, okay, here we go. You've got the ballades multiple times, the barcarolle multiple times, the berceuse multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Some Polish songs, etudes, opus 10 complete, along with some other bits, etudes, opus 25 complete, plus a lot of miscellaneous individual ones. The Nouvelle etudes, the Fantasy in F minor twice, the impromptus, a couple of mazurkas, the nocturnes, some of them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nocturnes, the second piano concerto, the piano sonatas 2 and 3, the Polonaise, some more of the preludes. Oh, I love his preludes. And he did the whole set. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Some absolutely gorgeous things there. Especially that A flat one that I just adore. Da 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 da, ya da 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 da. Just the way he phrases these things it's really pretty cool. The Prelude in C sharp minor, 2 scherzos, numbers 2 and 3, only once. The Tarantella in A flat major. I don't know, Chopin's really good in A flat major. I don't know why. 14 waltzes, a few of the, complete, yes, twice, and then a bunch of extra ones. He wasn't always in his best form for the waltzes, but, there's some cool stuff there. Some Couperin, a little bit of Couperin, and Debussy. We've got his Chanson de Bilitis, Children's Corner, Fête Galante, twice, for the first volume and second volume, and some preludes, book 1, twice, and the prose lyrique, the ballads de François Villon, the third one, and his violin sonata. Chamber music. The chamber music. His Debussy's okay. Debussy seen through the eyes of Schumann. I don't find it to be his most compelling work, but there are moments in the preludes that are really hot. Fauré, Berceuse, Dolly, arranged by Cortot, just the Berceuse, another Berceuse. He liked Berceuses. The Romance, sans parole, without words, the Violin Sonata number 1, beautiful work. Franck, the Piano Quintet, which we just mentioned, the Prelude, Aria, and Finale, the Prelude, Chorale, and Fugue, the Symphonic Variations, the Violin Sonata. Yeah, it's all great stuff. That's really sort of echt Cortot stuff. Handel's Harmonious Blacksmith, Haydn's Piano Trio in G major. Yay, at least one piano trio. That's the Gypsy Rondo one. The only one anyone ever played until much later. Liszt. Oh, yes, some concert etudes, the Hungarian Rhapsodies 2 and 11, some of the Années de Pèlerinage, the Piano Sonata, the Rigoletto Concert Paraphrase, which is one of his great concert paraphrases, and Cortot did it 3 times, and St. Francis de Paul, Walks on Water, on the Waves, The Legend, Mendelssohn, Piano Trio number 1, Rondo Capriccioso, Scherzo, Songs Without Words, the Variations Sérieuses, yummy. So a little bit of Henry Purcell stuff. We don't have to go into that in any kind of detail. Ravel, not much. Judeau and the Sonatine, and then the Piano Concerto for the Left Hand. Now, I first encountered Cortot via that historical recording of the Concerto for the Left Hand, and it is horrible. It's possibly the worst thing he ever did. It is full of mistakes. It's uncomfortable. It's painful to listen to. It really is. And it turned me off of him for many, many years. It was only Jed who got me back into it, talking about the other solo stuff he did that was marvelous. Saint-Saëns, 2 etudes, and the Piano Concerto number 4. I mean, those are, as Jed pointed out, the EMI recordings from 1930s. His Abbey Road recordings really found him on his best form on disc. And there's a good pile of them, including a bunch of these concerto things. Landon Ronald was often the conductor. Sometimes Charles Munch was the conductor. They're in the Munch box, the Munch ones. Schubert, a custom Landler, the Litany D343 arranged by Cortot 400,000 times, the Moment Musical in F minor twice, and the first piano trio. Classic! Yeah, now Schumann, get ready. Carnival 3 times, David's Bundler Tenza, and let's see, Des Abends from Fantasia Stucke, Opus 12, Dichterliebe, the Symphonic Etudes twice, which wonderful performances, Kindersehnen, Kreisleriana, Papillon, the Piano Concerto, 3 times, the Piano Trio in D minor, and Prophet Bird, 1 Scriabin Etude in D sharp minor, Opus 8, number 12, and Weber's Introduction to the Dance and Piano Sonata number 2. And that, my friends, is 40 discs of Alfred Cortot. Now, like I said, if you have the EMI one already, you're in business. You don't need to go into this again. If you don't and you're curious, he's great. I mean, he's a great pianist. You'll find lots and lots to enjoy and some things that will frustrate you. That's all I can tell you, and recommend that you go over and look at Jed's review on ClassicsToday.com in more detail. There's a sound sample you can listen to. He describes it far better than I ever could. And so with that, I bid you adieu. Keep on listening, friends. Take care.